Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wednesday afternoon conference call with Trusts Unlimited. Today is January 4th. I'd like to welcome all of you to the call. My plan earlier in the week was to do a rather long call. I had a lot of things that I wanted to get into. Unfortunately, I happen to have the flu, and so I'm going to make this a shorter call. I don't think I've felt this bad since the morning after one of my frat parties many years ago in college, but it is what it is. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get right into the information for today. It seems that the pieces of the puzzle are all falling together in place in Iraq. The news, as far as I'm concerned, is all good. And it looks like the dinar could reinstitute. I'm not saying it will reinstitute tomorrow. I'm saying that it could, and I'm going to explain to you why that would be the case. First, I want to touch on the seated government because after nearly a year, they do have a seated government. And we have al-Sudani as prime minister, Abdul Rashid as president of the republic, and al-Habussi was reelected as the speaker. Now, the significance of this is that all three of these gentlemen happen to be moderate Shia. And as I've said numerous times in the past, the only government, in my opinion, that was going to be able to function for all of the Iraqi citizens would be a moderate Shia government. A Sunni government couldn't do it for obvious reasons. The Kurds couldn't do it, nor could the radical pro-Iranian Shia do it. It had to be the moderate Shia, which are by far the vast majority in Iraq. So these gentlemen are in place, and as far as I'm concerned, they're doing everything they can as quickly as they can. So let's touch on some of these things. First, after literally years of effort, we finally see that the hydrocarbon law has been agreed upon, and it's scheduled for an initial vote in Parliament on the 9th, which is less than a week from now. So that's really important. We also noticed that the CBI operations have gotten increasingly aggressive of late. Just some of the things they've done. Of course, we all know that they've devalued the IQD against the USD. Whenever this happens, many of our clients call. They're very disheartened, and I have to continually remind them that the purpose of devaluing the IQD is because they're collecting the provisional 3-0 currencies. We use the word delete, but the delete would basically refer to individuals that would be utilizing the provisional currency after it's basically been retired. What's going on is they are collecting the zeros. We also see that the auctions have been halted for the time being. We see that the national education program for monetary reform is in full swing. We know that domestic bank accounts for individuals have been temporarily frozen, and we know that the CBI has halted advanced collection of taxes. Now, from an accounting standpoint, why would anyone be doing these things? The only plausible explanation for all of this is there's going to be a substantial change in accounting. And the only thing that makes any sense at all is a change in the exchange rate. That's the only plausible explanation for what they're doing. They're stopping everything. They're doing their calculation, and then they're going to reopen. And that's what's happening. So what we're really witnessing with all of this, in my opinion, is implementation of the final phase of the project to delete the zeros. And there's a lot of other things going on. For example, the CBI to date has accumulated nearly 100 billion USD for reserve currency, and they've purchased a large amount of gold. Now, what's the purpose here if they're going to reinstitute? What are they doing? Well, for the time being, they are utilizing the USD basically to fund government operations and at least to initially fund some of the international contracts, but they're using a lot of that money to do what? Chosen banks are purchasing the dinar in country. Again, they are collecting this 3-0 provisional currency. And why the purchase of all of the gold? Well, if the country was planning on operating on the USD reserve currency rather than its own currency, they wouldn't need the gold. The reason they need the gold is because it's going to back their currency once it's reinstituted. The USD also is funding some other activities as well. We also know that the CBI has been cooperating and working with the Paris Club that has been designated with the task to recover the stolen 3-0 provisional currency that's currently floating around internationally outside of the country. And there are measures in place to ensure that to the extent they cannot collect all of the stolen currency, individuals in possession of that currency are not going to be able to successfully launder it, i.e., exchange it for USD or other currencies in order to get it into the system. The provisional 3-0 currency will be retired both in country and internationally. So the clear objective at this point is to reinstitute the dinar and release the new smaller currency notes, and then, which of course that constitutes, as I said, the reinstitution in country. And then they want to float the IQD on the Forex, which would constitute the revaluation. The reinstitution, in my opinion, could literally occur at any time, and the subsequent float of the IQD on the Forex could happen shortly thereafter. One would expect that to be within 30 days. I wouldn't be surprised if it would happen within 10 days. The international agencies, the international or the sovereign central banks around the world are all anxious for the Iraqi dinar. They understand that a lot is going to hinge upon the reinstitution and revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. So it seems that the stars are aligned. Now, I've spent over a decade explaining in detail why individuals in possession of the dinar and other currencies or any asset that they anticipate a substantial increase in value should establish our package of irrevocable trusts. And for those of you calling in for the first time, or those that just maybe want to brush up on it, I would strongly suggest you go back and listen to our call of December 14th and December 21st, because we get into all of that. But in closing, I just want to touch on why it's critical for all American citizens at this time to seriously consider placing that protection of a package of irrevocable trust around their family and their wealth. It's a sad fact that at present we are not governed in this country by patriots. We are governed at this time by globalist kleptocrats. They're not supporting our constitutional representative republic. And they state it, although it does not seem that's the case. Every time you hear someone say, we must save our democracy, you need to understand we are not a democracy. What they're really saying is we need to dissolve our republic, our constitutional republic. But we do have a constitution, and that constitution begins with the Bill of Rights. And among the Bill of Rights is the Fourth Amendment, our right to privacy and our right to contract. And a trust is a contract. And you will establish this contract in order to protect your privacy and your wealth for yourself, for your children, and your grandchildren. Now, once you've established this trust, and once these currencies do revalue globally, you're going to have a substantial amount of wealth that you're going to need to manage. And we can show you how you can avoid the central bank digital currency by transitioning to income-producing tangible assets. Now, some of that money, unfortunately, will find itself into the central bank Federal Reserve System, but the vast majority of it will be out of their clutches. And if necessary, and if we need to get exotic, we can even show you how you can operate outside of the central bank Federal Reserve System. This can only be accomplished through the establishment of a package of irrevocable trust which will shield your possessions from the world They will not know what you possess and where you possess it. You will be able to operate in privacy, and you will be able to do so without having to expose yourself to the federal bank digital currency. Now, if the things we've discussed here today are of interest to you, I strongly suggest you go to our call of December 14th and December 21st to learn more about our trust package. You can contact us by phone or email if you wish to get our initial package. It has a lot of information about us, about the currencies, about how the trust operates. Given, once again, the government that is running things right now, as you read through this, you will understand not only why this package will protect you in so many ways, but why many of the people that are attacking our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our Fourth Amendment, and our 10th Amendment do not want you to know the things that are available to you to ensure they cannot run your lives, they cannot surveil you, they cannot confiscating your wealth without due process. You can go to our website, which is trusts with an S, unlimited, LLC.com. You can email us at trusts with an S, unlimited, LLC at gmail.com, or you can call our phone service, which is 307-274-4122. If you contact us to get our initial package, we'll get it out to you right away. It does contain everything you need if you wish to proceed, but you're under no obligation to do so. You can review the package. It's in its entirety. You can contact us by phone or email if you have any questions. We'll be happy to assist you, and there will be no consultation fee. Our next call is scheduled for next Wednesday. Hopefully I'll be in much better shape, and I will have the long call next Wednesday that I was planning to have today. Certainly, if something of a dramatic nature were to happen between now and then, we'll try to get out an emergency email and schedule an emergency conference call. But failing that, we'll be back next Wednesday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Thanks so much for listening. All the news thus far is very good, and let's hope that we can all be at the banks doing our exchange very shortly, and that the wealth that we will accumulate from this revaluation will be amply protected through our trust package. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.